was coming. I didn't know. I said, well, do you take an oath? Ooh, I didn't know what was coming. I didn't know. I said, well, of course I take an oath. Every police officer takes an oath. And he says, Sonny, can you tell me what was in that oath? And I thought, this is strange questions. Never been asked these things before. And I said, well, let me think. Now, I took it when I was in the military, and my police oath was very much the same. It said something about, I swear to protect the Constitution of the United States, defend it from all enemies, foreign and domestic. I swear to protect the rights and the liberties of the people, their person, and their property. Something like that. And he said, Sonny? I said, yes, sir. He says, one more question. And I said, yes, sir. What's the question? I thought, now he's getting down to business. What's your question? And he says, do you know the law? And I said, I'm thinking to myself, what's wrong with this? Am I missing something here? I said, sir, I just talked about the law for an hour. I said, now see, I knew he's sleeping. I said, I think I know the law. No one knows all the law because it's changing all the time. I said, but ask your question. What's your question? He says, so you know the law? And I said, yeah, sir. Give me your question. What do you want to know? And he says, what's the Sixth Amendment to the Bill of Rights? Ooh, I thought for a minute. I had no idea. I had no idea why he was asking such a stupid question. And he says, I said, sir, I don't know. He says, what's the Eighth Amendment to the Bill of Rights? And I'm an Irishman, you see. And when I start getting embarrassed, my face gets red, I mean really red, and I start sweating. And I started feeling this flush coming over my face. I had these people eating out of the palm of my hand. I mean, it had gone good for an hour, see? And who is this guy? Sir, I don't know what the Eighth Amendment to whatever you said. I don't know what you're talking about. He says, what's the 10th Amendment to the Bill of Rights? What's the Fourth Amendment to the Bill of Rights? What's the Fifth Amendment to the Bill of Rights? Now, I knew that I had the Fourth and Fifth Amendment in the police academy, but I couldn't think of what they were. I was too embarrassed. I was too rattled. And I said, sir, stop. I said, I don't have the answers to your questions. I said, ask me something about what I was talking about tonight. What is with this guy? And then he gave me the coup de grace. He was waiting for this. This was where he was going the whole time. Oh, yeah. He said to me, Sonny, how can you protect my rights and my liberties and the Constitution if you don't even know what they are? How would you have felt? An oath? Ooh. Do you take an oath? Ooh. I didn't know what was coming. I didn't know. Do you take an oath? Ooh. Do you take an oath? Ooh. I didn't know what was coming. I didn't know. I said, well, of course I take an oath. Every police officer takes an oath. And he says, Sonny, can you tell me what was in that oath? And I thought, this is strange questions. Never been asked these things before. And I said, let me think. Now, I took it when I was in the military, and my police oath was very much the same. It said something about, I swear to protect the Constitution of the United States, defend it from all enemies, foreign and domestic. I swear to protect the rights and the liberties of the people, their person, and their property. Police oath was very much the same. It said something about, I swear to protect the Constitution of the United States, defend it from all enemies, foreign and domestic. I swear to protect the rights and the liberties of the people, their person, and their property. Something like that. Police oath was very much the same. It said something about, I swear to protect the Constitution of the United States, defend it from all enemies, foreign and domestic. I swear to protect the rights and the liberties of the people, their person, and their property. Something like that. And he said, Sonny? I said, yes, sir. He says, one more question. And I said, yes, sir. What's the question? I thought, now he's getting down to business. What's your question? And he says, do you know the law? And I said, I'm thinking to myself, what's wrong with this? Am I missing something here? Law? And he says, do you know the law? And I said, I'm thinking to myself, what's wrong with this? Am I missing something here? He says, do you know the law? And I said, I'm thinking to myself, what's wrong with this? Am I missing something here? He says, do you know the law? And I said, I'm thinking to myself, what's wrong with this? Am I missing something here? I said, sir, I just talked about the law for an hour. I said, now see, I knew he's sleeping. I said, I think I know the law. No one knows all the law because it's changing all the time. I said, but ask your question. What's your question? He says, so you know the law? And I said, yeah, sir. Give me your question. What do you want to know? And he says, what's the Sixth Amendment to the Bill of Rights? And he says, what's the Sixth Amendment to the Bill of Rights? Ooh, I thought to know. And he says, what's the Sixth Amendment to the Bill of Rights? Ooh, I thought for a minute. I had no idea. I had no idea why he was asking such a stupid question. And he says, I said, sir, I don't know. He says, what's the Eighth Amendment to the Bill of Rights? And I'm an Irishman, you see. And when I start getting embarrassed, my face gets red, I mean really red, and I start sweating. And I started feeling this flush coming over my face. I had these people eating out of the palm of my hand. I mean, it had gone good for an hour, see? And who is this guy? Sir, I don't know what the Eighth Amendment to whatever you said. I don't know what you're talking about. He says, what's the 10th Amendment to the Bill of Rights? What's the Fourth Amendment to the Bill of Rights? What's the Fifth Amendment to the Bill of Rights? Now, I knew that I had the Fourth and Fifth Amendment in the police academy, but I couldn't think of what they were. I was too embarrassed. I was too rattled. And I said, sir, stop. I said, I don't have the answers to your questions. I said, ask me something about what I was talking about tonight. What is with this guy? And then he gave me the coup de grace. He was waiting for this. This was where he was going the whole time. Oh, yeah. He said to me, Sonny, how can you protect my rights and my liberties and the Constitution if you don't even know what they are? Oh, yeah. He said to me, Sonny, how can you protect my rights and my liberties and the Constitution if you don't even know what they are? He said to me, Sonny, how can you protect my rights and my liberties and the Constitution if you don't even know what they are? How would you have felt? I was destroyed. Do you take an oath? Ooh.
Give thanks and praise, information shared. This is why we say their oath of allegiance, these public authorities subscribe their own subscription. Yeah, nobody never forced them volunteer. So I would have shared this information for honorable clarification and catalog out there. Now go ahead and just let the computer narrate this thing, if possible.
Dismissal. You may be entitled to compensation after a traffic court dismissal if you incurred significant financial losses, such as legal fees or lost wages, directly due to the unjust traffic stop and/or prosecution. To be eligible, you generally must prove the initial stop or the subsequent charges were unlawful or baseless, and that you suffered damages as a result. You will likely need to file a civil lawsuit to seek these damages, so it is advisable to consult with a civil attorney. Acquittal. An acquittal is a resolution of some or all of the factual elements of the offense charged. The trier of fact, whether the jury or the court, must render a verdict of finding not guilty of the charged offense. A not guilty finding is an adjudication that proof at a prior proceeding was insufficient to overcome all reasonable doubt of guilt of the accused. One who is acquitted is judicially discharged from an accusation and is absolved. The double jeopardy clause bars appeal and retrial by the prosecutor. See Const. Amend. 5. A dismissed case is one where the formal legal proceedings have been stopped and the charges are dropped by a judge, either on the court's own motion or upon the request of the prosecution or defendant. While a dismissal offers relief from the immediate legal challenge for the accused, a dismissal doesn't always mean the end of the matter, as the charges may be refiled later depending on the specific circumstances. Oftentimes, acquittals will come in the form of a judgment that the defendant was hereby dismissed of the within charge. After an acquittal, there is nothing on which punishment could be based unless there is evidence of another offense that is otherwise admissible. In that case, the fact that the defendant was acquitted does not render the evidence inadmissible. Further, one cannot offer as evidence the acquittal of a co-defendant to prove the other co-defendant is not guilty. Cases are generally dismissed in one of the two following ways. 1. Without prejudice, meaning, if a case is dismissed without prejudice, it means the case is closed, but the plaintiff or prosecutor is allowed to refile the case in the future. 2. With prejudice, meaning, if a case is dismissed with prejudice, it means the case is closed permanently, and the plaintiff or prosecutor is barred from filing another case on the same claim. Common reasons for a case dismissed. 1. The traffic police constitutional breach of their public oath of allegiance to uphold the Constitution, its laws, and to serve the people. 2. The traffic police constitutional breach and/or violation of the double jeopardy rule or clause. 3. The traffic police constitutional breach by the infringement, abridgment, and abrogation of fundamental rights and freedoms, under color of authority. The prosecuting attorney and the judge are the only ones with the power to dismiss a criminal case. Because the prosecutor filed the charge, they also have the discretion to dismiss it if they believe the facts and circumstances warrant it. Likewise, a judge can dismiss the case if they find no legal basis for the charge, if the defendant's rights have been violated, or if the state has failed to prove its case. Judges can dismiss a case either on their own motion or on the motion of the defendant. Most charges, however, are dismissed by prosecutors, not judges. When a case is dismissed, the charges are dropped, and the formal accusation against the defendant is removed, and the case will not proceed to trial at that moment. This is not a verdict. A dismissal is different from an acquittal, which occurs after a trial when a judge or jury finds the defendant not guilty. A voluntary dismissal means the person who brought the case, like a prosecutor or plaintiff in a civil case, chooses to end it, while an involuntary dismissal means a judge stops the case for a legal reason, often because of issues pointed out by the opposing side. The implications for the accused is immediate relief. A dismissal can end the immediate legal challenge and prevent the defendant from having to go through a trial. However, a dismissed case still remains part of the legal record and does not automatically vanish. Now, depending on the situation and location, it may be possible to have the record sealed or expunged after a certain period. Registration definition. The registration of an automobile is the prerequisite to any road traffic interaction, inspection, and/or infraction. However, registration rules and regulations can never apply to that which is unregistered. 1. The registration is a legally binding agreement with contractual obligations, which gives a third party such as the Registrar General's Department, agency, company, or corporation controlling interest in the registered property. 2. Hence, the mandatory requirement for registration by the state corporations to gain control and authority. 3. Without the registration, neither a third party nor a corporate court can claim any jurisdiction over the subject matter. 4. The registration is their gateway to gain access and controlling interest over all your possessions. Licensing agreement definition. A licensing agreement is a contract between a property owner, the licensor, and another party, the licensee, that grants the licensee or the right to use the licensor's brand, patent, or trademark. Malicious prosecution. Proving malicious intent. In a malicious prosecution case, you must prove the officer acted with malice and improper purpose for bringing the prosecution, not for the genuine pursuit of justice. This can be the most challenging element to prove. A person could potentially sue for malicious prosecution, but this requires proving that the traffic police acted without reasonable cause. The traffic police acted with malicious intent. Proving lack of probable cause. Probable cause is the reasonable belief that a crime has been or is being committed. For a malicious prosecution claim, you must prove that the officer lacked this reasonable belief. 1. Focus on the information the officer had. The standard for probable cause is based on the information available to the officer at the time of the arrest and prosecution. A key part of your argument is showing that based on those facts, no reasonable person would have believed you were guilty. 2. Use the officer's own report. Analyze the initial police report and compare it to the evidence, or lack thereof, presented at your trial. 3. Contradictions. Show how the information in the report was objectively false or contradicted by other evidence. 4. Lack of basis. Prove that the officer's belief was based on pure imagination or surmise, not credible information. 5. Show how the officer ignored evidence. You must demonstrate that the officer had exculpatory evidence showing your innocence, but deliberately ignored it. A dismissal of the charges alone does not prove a lack of probable cause. Why this is exceptionally difficult. The legal system protects law enforcement officers, not policy enforcers, through doctrines like sovereign immunity, making them difficult to sue. You must prove the traffic police acted outside their official duties or with such a high degree of misconduct that it overcomes this protection. An officer's honest mistake, negligence, or misjudgment is not enough to prove malice. Traffic police. This improper prosecution demonstrates an ulterior motive for profit and gain, and not the pursuit of justice. 1. The traffic police made an illegal and unlawful stop when conducting such stops without a court order, without a warrant, without reasonable suspicion or probable cause of an actual crime being committed. 2. The traffic police must verify and validate that the accused has a licensing agreement and or registration with the state, the traffic police, and or the police department as the employer. 3. Without a licensing agreement and registration, the traffic police has no jurisdiction, no control, and absolutely no authority to act. 4. The nature, cause, and purpose of the traffic stop was to initiate a legal dispute that creates a controversy, to generate revenue, profits, and gains by a formal accusation using the charge sheet from the First Information Report, FIR, which is the initial document reporting the crime, to begin the legal proceedings against the accused. 5. Constitutional breach of fundamental rights and freedoms by the initial arbitrary unlawful traffic stop, unlawful arrest, and unlawful imprisonment without a warrant, without reasonable suspicion, or without probable cause. The Constitution makes no provision for the public authority to interfere with the liberty or freedom of the people. 6. Constitutional breach of public authority's own subscribed oath of allegiance to uphold the Constitution, its laws, and to serve the people. This is the contractual obligation of the public authority, by oath of allegiance to serve the people, not to command them arbitrarily without due process of law. Trespass, definition. As a verb, no object. 1. To enter an owner's land or property, legal entity, without permission or authority. There is no excuse for a traffic police to trespass on the property or the legal entity of another. 2. To trespass on, to make an unfair claim on or take advantage of something. The traffic police really must not trespass on fundamental rights and freedoms. 3. To trespass against, archaic or literary, to commit an offense against a person or a set of rules. a traffic policeman or woman who had trespassed against the constitutional laws they subscribed their own oath of allegiance to uphold. As a noun. 4. Law, to entry to a person's land or property without their permission. The traffic police as defendants, or guilty of trespass. Established basis for compensation. 1. False arrest or unlawful stop, if the traffic stop itself was unlawful or without probable cause, or if the initial arrest was baseless, you may have grounds to sue for damages. 2. Wrongful prosecution. You may also be able to seek compensation if you can prove that the prosecution was malicious and without probable cause. Established records documenting your damages. You will need to provide evidence of your financial losses, which could include 1. Legal fees, any costs incurred to defend yourself in traffic court. 2. Lost wages, income you lost because you had to take time off work for court appearances or because you were unable to work due to the stop. 3. Emotional distress. In some cases, you may be able to claim compensation for significant emotional distress caused by the unlawful stop or prosecution. Use of circumstantial evidence. Since it is difficult to prove the traffic police state of mind directly, you must rely on circumstantial evidence. 1. Inconsistencies. Pointing out significant inconsistencies in the traffic police's testimony or reports can suggest a deliberate falsehood. 2. Fabricated evidence. If you can show the traffic police tampered with or fabricated evidence, this is a strong indication of malice. 3. Ignoring contradictory information. If the traffic police proceeded with the prosecution despite possessing information that clearly pointed to your innocence, this can also imply malice. 4. Pattern of misconduct. Documenting a pattern of similar improper behavior by the same traffic police in other cases could be used as evidence. Important considerations. 1. Not automatic. Compensation is not guaranteed. You must be able to prove the unlawful nature of the stop and your resulting damages. 2. State laws vary. Laws regarding civil action for wrongful stops or prosecutions vary by jurisdiction, so legal advice is crucial. Consult with a civil attorney. 1. Legal advice. A civil attorney can evaluate your case, advise you on the likelihood of success, and help you navigate the legal process. 2. Filing a lawsuit. You will likely need to file a civil lawsuit for damages, not the traffic court itself, to recover these costs.
Give thanks, give thanks, give thanks, give thanks. Now again, information shared for honorable clarification. Now, on Nantucket Island, we good brother Joel Jaguar face years of the very same inquisition. The right to be free, not the right to travel and all of these nonsense. The right to be free, the absolute right to be free. And that's a free will exercise. Now there is a state trooper, Kevin M. Bates on Nantucket Island, and this recent police officer, Farrell Deuce, Nantucket Police Department. These are the perpetrators where abrogate, abridge, and infringe upon the fundamental rights and freedom of the living man, in his sovereign state capacity. And them carry him in the court system back and forth, a lot of shenanigans with that court clerk Donald P. Hart, who is in fact, that's a criminal in office, only because of them conduct, and them conduct is evidence. Now, Joel Jaguar case reached to what is known as trial. And when he reached to trial, Officer Farrell Deuce was present at the court. And all these police officers and all the Commonwealth people was present at the court with the judge. I think his name is James Sullivan at the court. And them pressure Joel Jaguar. I try look some kind of plea. And Joel Jaguar stand his ground. Now, this judge should give an acquittal order. Is either you're guilty or not guilty. So when them just say case dismissed, we don't have no interest in a dismissal. We want to say acquittal. You know what I mean? You dismiss with prejudice or you dismiss without prejudice is one thing, but Joel Jaguar not commit no crime. Joel Jaguar can demonstrate say at the initiation of this stop by Ferrell Ducey in November, in present her with information letting her know, giving her public notice that her actions constitute trespass. And we have video evidence for sure where Officer Ferrell Ducey engaged Joel Jaguar on his premises where my pay rent for. So that would consider private property. But because these people said I'm govern the whole island, then I guess there is no private property in existence on that location. Hence, this lady does totally engage, initiate, assault Joel Jaguar. Should never really arrest him that day. You understand? Donald P. Hart is the one where always I send Kevin MD, it's a state trooper, to arrest Joel Jaguar and shackle him up on our Donald P. Hart, that Grand Wizard, Ku Klux Klan Grand Wizard, yeah. But Ferrell Ducey is on video where Joel Jaguar expressed, you are trespassing, and she totally ignored that because Joel Jaguar is no stranger there. I tell you from 2019, Joel Jaguar got through these situations on that island. So all of these people was there and them chose to dismiss the case. Why is that? We not accept no dismissal. We want acquittal. We don't want these people messing around anymore, and we want some compensation. We don't want too much or nothing. I man have to put in a lot of work. Joel Jaguar for send a strength to the office where it deplete all of him resource irrespective of the amount. You can't tell we say, you know, him a millionaire. He's not. Working man. And you know this office. This office function in a autonomous way. Totally independent from any foreign control, foreign investor, foreign anything at all. And we use simplicity. We try to avoid the complexity. So we just use the basic information. We ask a question. If there's contract, yeah, let's do contract. And if there is contract, if there is in fact contract, present the contract on the record for inspection and discussion. Without the contract, we have nothing going on. So this is why I say it's a bluff, but usually they want to dismiss the case and Joel go one side and you know, them come back again and next time when them feel like them not like Joel Jaguar, them feel like them want to pick on some other, you know, West Indian, then we just draw him back in the court. We don't have no interest in that. Joel Jaguar is a free man because he is not a citizen of any man-made country, man-made state, or man-made county. Joel Jaguar have a legal entity that is expressed out there publicly for commercial, transaction only. It's a sophisticated financial instrument. And all you have to do is be cognizant of the separation of entities. That way, you know, just can express it on paper, you can express it verbally, or they will test you. Joel Jaguar living proof for that. They will test you. So we are say irrespective of what is being said, there is an express written law, and you find it in the Bill of Rights on the mainland. On the island here, you find it in Chapter 3 of the Jamaica Constitution, the fundamental rights and freedom. Those are the express written law. This is where the police officers and all other public entities, public authorities, subscribe their own oath of allegiance. So this is why I always say, ask them to recite their oath. You might have problem on the island because our police, a few of them really, get us literate, few of them. Most of them just wired differently. Them got through the process, got through the police academy, and I will assume they were taught properly. But you see, the moment them touch the road and have the government equipment, that's it. I say My View TV share a video where some dude in our party have a scuffle, and I guess one of the police was involved, and him leave the party and go back to his house, and we just see where him have a man on the ground and assault the man physically with a gun. And I know so that firearm when him have under the government issue. Else when him there at the party it would have depend on him person. You know what I mean? Because him would have in an official capacity. But on the island here, them not have them distinction there. You just want to say you're police and people freeze up and just skin out, give up. You know what I mean? And that is a fact. My little son here on the island, my lady, biological son, good boy. He wouldn't have no badness, no bad playing at them. And I work him I come from and they up in a half a tree. And then hear him say, you know, a man just come to him in a plain clothes, probably two of them, and say, police, give me a phone. And then throw them out, they're not really street youth, you know. Him just freeze up and probably just, you know, give them the phone and probably a third one come around and probably even show him, so them have firearm and them thing that. And this happened right here, you know, there. What is that? Up at that little bus park there, up at crossroad here, the half a tree here, there, so public place. I mean, know a lot of plainclothes police out there and things. So what me I say is this. Well, if for me, that wouldn't happen, because me, yeah, no, that does. All of a sudden, you come and stick me up, say, you're police, and, you know, you want my phone, me go make alarm, me go talk loud, say, police. Oh, you for want my phone, me just start talk crazy, and then when them show me, so them have gun for slow me down, that's when I act like my paraplegic. Me I go just drop myself on the ground and start roll away and bear nice. So them not about to want to rob me, because me not take out nothing and just give to no guy. If you rob me, you better rob me. And I want to see the clown will come to all a man like me. I try that. That would be interesting, really. But everybody are the same. So me I say we're not safe out there. Ones are not safe out there. A lot of things are happening, but because it's not report or recorded, people not pay attention. The warrior, so when him go home, him track the phone and somewhere down a town, one of them little lane that him said the phone ping. You understand? And me I say then the first thing, you know, well me I tell him mom, so the first thing him should have do is just report. Because after him get the stick up and think, yeah, I better you take a rob more than you play hero and get in a trouble. But it makes sense to make a report. Because me would have just go straight to the police station, make a report, say, boy, some on a friend, them police just robbed me, you know. Yeah, them just stick me up and take on my phone, so I want my phone. And then now I tell them where I go on the police could have pinged the phone, probably all police would have there right on the location where the phone ping and could have make a move. So this is what I say, even when you're not tough or, you know, you might be a little afraid or whatever, yo, you have to do something. You can't just take it. You understand? Just make a report. Sometimes the report ever save somebody else. Because me I tell you, sir, the place stay away. That's why I advise people, make sure you have something to protect yourself. If it's even some pepper spray. You understand? If it's even some pepper spray. You either can spray them and run, or you just put your hand up in the air and say, boy, you give up. Me not do that. Me a turn paraplegic. When I want to make sure them have video me, because I go show people how to get out of these conditions. I remember it's just a robbery, them no want no alarm. And I like say a man come and say it's a hit him on you, then you get a judgment that. But no man now stick up no man and you start act like you're silly and spit out of your mouth and a man take off from your car. He don't know if I have heart attack you have and a death on him. He don't want a murder charge. And all he do is officer check. He don't even know what you have. He just want your phone. No man, he might take it for himself. So people are really smart. But again, given the situation, sometimes you just freeze up. Because that's how these things go. So me just talk like an old man. So I probably see so much. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I can't see myself I got going on that problem there. Really. Yeah man, I more want to rob me and end up and give me a thing or two. Yeah, just naturally. But me I try to say people will impersonate public authorities or the police them and get access to it easily. So when police do them thing, them are always make you know them are police in a way where you should be confident, not whisper to you. You understand? Yeah, all when them in a police looking costume, them have to have some identification to say, yeah man. Or you say, yeah, I'll take me downtown, we could discuss it downtown. So you go in at the police station where you know so them are real police. Outside of that, you got us, you have to just smart now. Anyway, I just share a little tad bit there for say, boy, Jamaica stay away now and them in them political, it's a season. And you got have a set of people who behave inappropriate, while you got have a next set of people who rise above that and look at the inappropriate ones like, one for them low IQ people, yeah. You understand? But again, most of them are work, because them get paid for act silly, so them just go, do them work. Them go act silly. So smart people just do the right thing out there and stay away from the nonsense. You know what I mean? But they're outside of the political arena, really. But I know say the Labour right government or the government where Andrew run and Andrew send police come over Elsha, come take for my car, car. The Labour right government say me as a free man, as a sovereign man, I embarrass them. Listen, from 2019 police have pulled me over and when them talk to me, I may express to them and them call in and them leave me alone. Police stop me, see my car, turn them back, all of these things. And then Andrew now, I'm feeling like a friend them in a cabinet that said me I embarrass them. So them just start sick police for me. Take for my car 2019, have it for about 2 years, give me back in about 2022. By 2023, I'm still a God travel. I'm not going to have no license. I will never have those things. You give me a brand new car right now, but I must you pay for the insurance and all of them cars. I won't. I'm not under no obligation for do none of those things. And I can prove it. There is no adjudicator here on this island who can say, I not have them right there. You know what I mean? I not have them absolute right there that is inherent and fundamental. It not have nothing to do with no government. Not a politician. That's why I say, man like me, yeah man, me have right to blow on the face off and laugh at you. I want to can't do nothing about it. I want to try me. But why pour on a bloodline like nothing? And me are just one man. Can you imagine all half a dozen away? Cancer is a whole different energy. That's why we stay on the correct side of the issue. We choose to stay lawful. We choose to stay correct now. Because of the, application, self-application, we can say we're accurate. So we go straight to the point. If me and you now have no agreement, no contractual agreement that is binding, then what we are doing? Is this public slavery? Then say brawling so we can go at it. Brawling, live. We have express public law. The fundamental rights and freedom is just that. It's a parliament shall make no law, no organ of the state shall take no action that abrogate, abridge, or infringe the fundamental rights and freedom. It's express. How people operate outside of that, I can't comprehend it. Outside of them being citizens, where them subject themselves to, the legal codes or the bankruptcy codes, or, them subject themselves to being the legal entity. That's why them have a legal name. When me hear my view say I'm a dog have one name, that because my view not reach the level of clarity or comprehension for no say. We as man only have one name, we get given name. You know what I mean? Our family name or the house name or the surname or the last name is just that epithet. It not really connect to us. That are just the estate according to how them construct. Someone would say, yo, then my mother last name, watch me now. It a move from the point of view or perspective. I say once the man and the woman come together, them are one. I say, God, you know, if you go in a feeling thing to say, hey, I'm married with license, that's something different than born. That's why them have common law union. The clarity that but our people will take them time to get there. It's a step-by-step process, man. But without the clarity, you're going to find yourself lost at sea, drifting out there. And then the distraction, you'll never find a way. You'll get comfortable out there. We go directly to the source. We know where the source is and who the source. And we represent that. The public cannot exist without the private. So if you have a public birth certificate that express, it will come from a private area. And the private area represents you. Because the public birth certificate where express, and that's the value that one. That's why them monetize it, not the application form itself. You understand? The birth certificate bond paper will express that is the legal entity, not you. But it comes with it's like a surety agreement, a suretyship agreement, where the birth certificate is the surety. It is that thing. Yeah, man, and it have rights like it's a human. You know what I mean? And all of these things it can sue, but that is what them can interact and interface with. That is what I'm called the male or the female. This is a clarity where I elude people. You understand? In other words, only the creator, the Most High creator that creates man in our own image according to what is written anciently before we manifest, are the only one that can issue any edict, order, or dictate. This is why the fundamental rights and freedom is in place. It have nothing to do with a constitution. The constitution secure that. It now have nothing to do with the politician. The politician them ignore that. It have everything to do with truth. And at this our people are miss. And that's why when I talk and say fire burn for the gurus, them is because them not bring it down to this practical level, to the lowest denominator, them not bring it down to the base, so you can get it. And the way out there, I tell you, say if you do all kind of things, and you have to say, why? Because them can't tell you, what the foundation or anything. Them not have time for that. Them are the business out there. That's why people can't say sovereign, can't say sovereignty, and really cannot say freedom, cannot express themselves as being free. It's impossible for them on the mainland who are considered citizens. Yeah, man. You have a public side and you have a private side. The private side is untouchable. But the private side is what moves the public side. Your private side is what animates that public entity. You have to create a separation of that thing. Yeah, man. Avoid the complexity, my people. Yeah, man. It's amazing. It is amazing. When the truth expresses itself, people run away from it. The mainland people, American United States citizens over there, when I get no more view from that location. Why? Because I expose the facts. You are the African American. You are deceiving yourself. You are sleepwalking over there. Why? Because the enslaver, which is a big old Congress, is right here in your house, in your land, and then express the facts that yes, them enslave you. Yes, them convert you from Indian to citizen. Share those information publicly. But again, yeah, in a chaotic world that is out of course, truth not attractive. You understand? Yeah, truth is never attractive. But truth remains the truth. Salute my good brother George Jaguar. It's an absolute victory. You accomplished something on Nantucket Island where most mainlanders can only dream about. And because you have the clarity for know, sir, you really aim at acquittal because it's not your first merry-go-round and you can, present evidence of such. You can present evidence that Nantucket Police Department under the Commonwealth run an investigation and find say you have never have a driver's license, never, nowhere. Them are going to find say you have never registered any property, nowhere. And this is why them have to dismiss the case opposed to acquit the case so them can play games. But again, we choose to apply ourselves to put a stop to it. And this is what the problem if we have to bring lawsuit against these people for compensation. And then remember, them blatantly trespass against a free man in a sovereign state capacity and trespass against a West Indian, and they were warned. So we have a $1 million plus claim right at the get-go against the Nantucket Police Department, against even the Commonwealth, and against these police officers in their personal capacities, because they are the initiators of this dispute that created the controversy. And we don't want it come back. We have to place an injunction on these people so when them see us or identify ourselves appropriately as West Indians, separate and distinct from all other Indians out there, then them have to act accordingly. Them have to literally govern themselves accordingly. Why? Because of the proper thing to do. Why? Because it's the law, not what I say, is what is written, is what is already expressed, what they agreed to by way of their subscribed oath of allegiance. So them thing have clarity. But my people are always have issue of ascertain. Too much complexity. And the complexity is intentional. This is why I step out here and look and then express myself as being free. Because I come out here comes to gurus that has been here 20 years till it reached 30 years and cannot express themselves as being free. They cannot say sovereign or sovereignty. They just cannot. Why? Because their handlers won't permit it. They expressed these things years ago. This is why I'm going to follow absolutely no one to step forward and express our intention. Yeah, man. I will put it in a documented form on the public record where it stated for for perpetuity. Yeah. Perpetually. Yeah, man. It's not gone nowhere. It's there. Yeah, man. Man, free. We not ask permission. So this is why when I say ones, I say, hey, your birth certificate, and you have to change it from this one and get the certificate of live birth. And I'm like, who taught you that nonsense? And okay, you've done all of that now. What's next? Can you express what we are expressing, not just locally, but internationally? Remember, you know, Jamaica, I'm there, and may affect the international area easily, quite easily. You understand? Yeah, them just fight with hard and dirty. Them I go outside a lot. Well, that Jaguar demonstrate to Nantucket Island and by extension to the earth that, hey, he's no criminal when he might choose to move freely in America, which is his ancestral homeland. Joel Jaguar is not inside of the United States. Joel Jaguar is not inside of the United States of America. Joel Jaguar exists on the continental landmass. So even in a Greenland, yeah, all of them places were sovereign. Anywhere you're there, if you're there in England, this information free you. But you have to go through the court and establish that. And them are going to test you. So you have to demonstrate. You literally have to demonstrate your competence. It can't be what I said. You understand? You have to have the clarity. You literally have to have the clarity. And this is the simplicity. This is the simplicity. But the item will miss it. We don't have no bells or jingle. You understand? And when I come from a biracial relationship. You understand? And we're authentic. Always been American. Will always be American. I've never experienced life outside of America, not even for vacation. This is who I am. Free West Indian. To be specific, Awak Indian. Yeah, man, of the Awak Indian nation, that specific society in America. Unrecognized, unassimilated, unincorporated. Yeah. Free, undocumented, free, totally certified. We have a certificate of fact where there is no court can refute or rebut judgment out there. Why? Because truth is sovereign. This is why we say sovereignty. You guys don't want no more clarity. Yeah, man. They can't want no more clarity. Complete gratitude out there, free people. The brave may fall but never yield. And we say bold and brave, firm and strong. Again, salute free people. If I look on the notes if me I miss nothing. I know everything, you know, so it's just up to the item, you know. And we are choose to stay consistent. Remember, we're not monetize, so if we get 1 view or 10 view, yeah, that's the information catalog and out there. Yeah, man, from the grassroots perspective, bringing honorable clarification to our situation. I would say give thanks. Complete gratitude out there.